Hello everyone, Brian Fisher of Fisherfast. Today in this video we'll be taking a look at this beautiful 2013 Land Rover Range Rover Sport Supercharged. I'll begin the video by talking just a little bit about the vehicle in general, then go over some of the recent maintenance history, followed by a full walk around of the exterior, and finally finish up on the inside. As I mentioned, this is a 2013 model year, which is the last year for this very iconic L320 body style. This has the very squared off and angular lines on it, kind of boxy design, and there's absolutely no mistaking this vehicle for anything else on the road or in a parking lot. When you see this, you know exactly what it is. And that's funny enough, that's kind of in stark comparison to a 2014 Range Rover Sport, which has a complete body redesign, which they really smoothed out all the angles and made it more rounded. And if you ever seen a newer Ford Explorer parked next to one of those 2014 and up Range Rover Sports, you'll be glad you have the older body style here, because this, like I said, this thing really stands on its own and nothing else looks like it. This is finished in the very desirable Fuji white exterior paint. This paint color is special to me just because it does not have any metallic flake or pearl flake in it. That makes the white very pure, white and vivid. Usually when you do a pearl white, sometimes it can look kind of dirty and yellow, and like I said, this doesn't have any of that. It's just a very, very bright white. And it's the perfect contrast to all the gloss and satin black accents on this vehicle. In terms of performance, this is powered by the very nice Supercharged 5-liter V8 motor. It makes 510 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and a very stout 461 pound-feet of torque at 2,500 RPM. All that power is routed through a 6-speed ZF automatic transmission. It takes just a little over 5 seconds to hit 60 miles per hour and has a top speed of 140 miles per hour. The max tow weight is officially listed at 7,700 pounds. This was the top of the line for performance in 2013. There was a autobiography and GT limited edition for this model year, but those were just strictly cosmetic changes, such as body colored panels underneath of the car, and also some different leather colors, and front and rear bumpers were different. So like I said, those are basically cosmetic, and maybe a wheel change as well. But in terms of performance, this was it. This 510 horsepower is very lively and fun to drive. It's not subdued or depressed feeling like some turbo cars or most turbo cars are. There is no clutch mechanism on the supercharger, which means it's always freely spinning and ready to go. The throttle response is instant and the power is always there. Even though this car weighs almost 3 tons, this is a very, very fun car to drive. And that's in comparison to something like something you might be cross-shopping, such as a Cayenne Turbo, which I own as well in 08. And I can tell you 100% I enjoy driving this car, the Range Rover, more than the Porsche. The Porsche can out-handle the Range Rover, but in terms of raw performance and acceleration and just the funness of a supercharger, the Range Rover 100% wins for me. The Cayenne does have some turbo lag when you step on the pedal, which this doesn't have. So that's why this wins out for me on a daily driving situation. Some of the recent maintenance, whenever I bought this car, I like to go over every square inch of it front to back and make sure that the car is in perfect operating order. It didn't necessarily need all of these things, but if someone told me, or if I seen something that looks like it could be changed and the car would perform a fraction of a tenth better than it would by leaving the old used part on, I'm changing it. I want this thing operating at 100%, just like when it was new, and I would feel confident driving this car cross country with no issues or worries. So it has a full brake job consisting of rotors, pads, and brake fluid flush, both front and rear. The front and rear differential fluid and transfer case fluid was drained and filled. The supercharger coolant pump was also changed. The engine oil and filter. The supercharger isolator or coupler was changed, which is a very common problem on these vehicles. It makes a lot of rattling noise, and it's something I guarantee that just about every one of these would need fixed, so that has been preventively done. The supercharger and accessory belts were both changed. Supercharger belt tensioner, the battery, the engine spark plugs, the BMC high flow engine air filters were installed. Interior cabin filter was replaced, hood struts were replaced, wiper blades. Both front suspension air struts were replaced. Both front lower control arms were replaced. Both front tie rod end links, front sway bar links, rear sway bar links and bushings. It also has new wheels and tires, and an alignment done at Land Rover. So now let's take a walk around tour of the exterior here where the sun's at, so you can take a look at this beauty in detail. Now I'll go over and point out some of the things that I've changed on the vehicle just to kind of modernize it and give it my personal touch or taste of the vehicle. First thing I did was replace the headlight lenses. These are both brand new, and I did that because the old ones had a little bit of fading to them. They looked a little worn out, and instead of trying to polish them and sand them and clear coat them, just replacing them with brand new UV coated lenses is the way to go. These headlights now look brand new again. Up front, I replaced the silver Range Rover lettering on the front hood with a gloss black, so it really pops on the white. You know, you can see it a mile away. The front grille has been changed as well to a all gloss black mesh design. It does have a brand new tow hook cover, which is the big silver piece right here on the bottom. The headlight bulbs were also changed out for a very bright pair of Philips Extreme Gen 2 bulbs, HID bulbs. Coming around to the side, I changed out the air vents to these gloss black mesh style. They do have the supercharged lettering here. These are very hard to find for the 2010 through 2013 cars, believe it or not. And probably my favorite part are these very nice hybrid forged Vossen 22-inch wheels. So these are 22 by 10.5, and they are rocking a set of 275/40/22 Michelin Pilot Sport all season 3+ tires. If you do have any inclement weather such as light snow, these tires will get around beautifully, and they're very performance oriented for dry weather as well. While I had the tires off, I did take the liberty to clean the brake calipers up as well and put a coat of wax on those, so the bread really pops behind the wheels. These wheels are really nice, just as they are two-toned, and they're not actually polished so much, or the camera will pick it up. Well, they actually are polished, but then there's a tinted clear coat put over top of that, so they look, like I said, tinted, and they look really nice on the white. They're not too bright, not too dark. You can still see the design of the wheel very nicely. I changed these out for a new pair as well, these side markers. The mirror caps used to be body colored white. I painted these gloss black just for a more aggressive look. Around back, I changed the normally silver color Range Rover letters for black for a more aggressive look. And I also painted this bar underneath of the lettering gloss black as well to match the newer style cars. They have the same design. If you take a look at those, makes it look much more aggressive against the white. This step pad here on the rear is also brand new, so it's not discolored at all. Again, those beautiful big Brembo calipers really pop behind those wheels as well. Now let's take a look on the inside. And immediately you're greeted with this very unique color combo on the inside, which Land Rover officially calls tan. To me, it looks like a basketball color or like a terracotta pot type of color. And it's very contrasty and eye-catching against the white, as you can see there. I mean, it's a great color combo. It's not as polarizing as a red interior would be, and not as boring as a black interior would be. You do have the Harman Kardon Logic 7 upgraded sound system. I believe this one is 825 watts with 17 speakers. The condition of both seats almost looks new. Hardly any wear. The steering wheel is heated. If you live in any kind of cold climate, you just push this button in and you have a very hot, instantly almost, I might add, hot steering wheel. Anybody warms your hands up. The heated seats in this car also are very, very nice. Some cars you can hardly feel them. These ones actually get so hot that I have to turn them down a couple notches at a time, which is great because I'd rather have them be too hot than not hot enough. So the heated seats are a crowd favorite in here. You have these stainless accents on the door as well. Back seats look just as nice as the front seats, as do the door jambs. In the back here you have heated seats as well. Also an auxiliary port and a power port. There's also a full set of WeatherTech mats, both front and rear. So you can just take those out and hose them down when they get dirty. I do also have the original Land Rover carpeted mats that will come with the vehicle as well. You have the Range Rover plaque here on the dash. There's a nice compartment up top. Underneath it is a irregular glove compartment. While we're in here, I can show you the books and manuals that come with it. Even better yet, here is the original window sticker that came with the vehicle, which you hardly ever find anymore. This is always cool to have. So the original MSRP on this vehicle was $77,745. There are the two added options. And then you also have your full range of owner's manuals and books in here as well. I think a good point to show would just be how versatile this vehicle is for carrying and hauling stuff. So I'm going to put down the rear seats just so you can see how flat the cargo area is. And I find this especially useful. I like to ride bikes, cycling, and sometimes I like to actually just put the vehicles on inside of the trunk instead of carrying them on a bike rack with a cloth or a blanket in the back, just so they're more secure when we go into a restaurant or something. And a lot of vehicles nowadays have folding seats in the rear where the top part of the seat will just fold down at an angle so the load floor is not flat, and that's hardly the case here, as this does go completely flat. Pull up on the tab. Take a look in the trunk. Fully automatic opening and closing trunk. And you can see just how much room you have in there and how flat it is for really hauling a lot of stuff around. It's very nice. As good as the sound system sounds completely stock for being the Harman Kardon upgrade, I did feel it was lacking a little bass response or depth. So I went ahead and added a JL Audio shallow mount subwoofer here in the trunk of the vehicle that integrates with the stock system very well. As you can see, it hardly takes up any space at all in the trunk. It's tucked away into the side, so it does not protrude out into the interior volume or take away anything. A lot of the aftermarket boxes, people will just throw a big subwoofer box here in the middle when you have to move it around to get in and out of the trunk, and I didn't want that. So this is still extremely usable. If it didn't say JL Audio on the side, you would probably think it was just a factory piece. Inside, all the wiring for the sub is hidden away in the tool tray here, so you don't see anything at all. There is a kicker DSP for the sub for better sound quality. It has already been optimized. You never have to worry about that either. Up front, there is a separate volume knob for the subwoofer, so you can turn it and raise it to adjust the bass response in compliance with whatever music you may be listening to. So like a classical or rock and roll, you might require some more bass. If you're listening to dance or hip hop, you might turn it down a little bit. So you have that adjustability on the fly there, which is nice. I'll go ahead and start the vehicle up. To start it, you just keep the key in your pocket, push down on the brake, and go for the start-stop. On the inside, I did refresh it a little bit as well. All these knobs used to be just a plain black with the rubberized coating. As with time, the things wear out and these get a little tacky feeling and they start to get gummy, so all 5 knobs here have been replaced with these polished aluminum look knobs. The engine start-stop button has also been replaced as well, so the lettering on it looks brand new as it is new. Inside here you have 2 really nice sized cup holders. In the armrest you do have a USB and iPod port, so you can plug a flash drive into here if you have music loaded into it, or an older iPod as well to listen to music. Underneath there you do have the kind of iconic Range Rover Land Rover design here. You have a mini refrigerator. You can put cans of pop in there filled with ice. You can put a sandwich in there, whatever you may want to. Turn that on and it keeps it cold just like a refrigerator. Let's check under the hood. And there's that beautiful supercharged 5-liter V8. That's got to be my favorite part about this vehicle. If it didn't have the blower on it and just had the normally naturally aspirated V8, even though it's still pushing out 375 horsepower, it just wouldn't be as fun to me, it wouldn't be as appealing. If you're buying one of these 110%, get a supercharged one with the 5-liter, not the 4.2-liter BMW motor. You want the 5-liter Jaguar/Ford V8. One other note to mention is this does have the full suite of terrain response controls, including dynamic response. So I do like to drive it in this far left mode right here with the curvy road. That makes the car tighten up more, feel real responsive, and makes the handling feel tighter as well. You do have a ton of different options if you do want to go off-road or do any light off-road, gravel, unpaved roads. You can switch it between sand, ruts, snow, just about anything. You can raise and lower the vehicle up and down by a few inches as well, as this does have air suspension. Has electronic parking brake as well. Dual climate control in the front. In the head unit, you do have Sirius satellite XM radio, as well as navigation. Let's see. The touchscreen for the navigation. So I think that's going to wrap this video up for this beautiful Range Rover Sport Supercharged. As I said, it took me a while to find a very clean white and tan one. If you look around at these vehicles used, try to find one. There's hardly any that are white, and even less rare is one that has been fully serviced and gone through. If you don't buy the right vehicle, you can absolutely 100% be buying a money pit, which you're going to throw a ton of money into trying to fix it every other week. You buy this one, you don't have to worry about that. Everything has been gone through front to back. This car is bulletproof for the moment, and it's ready to go on to the next owner. If you have any questions about this vehicle, please feel free to ask them in the comments below. Otherwise, I appreciate you watching. Have a great day.